Hi everyone, welcome to the third installment of my flute fundamentals videos. In this video I'm going to be talking a little bit about scales, arpeggios, and articulations, and how you can combine articulations with each one of those exercises that we should be doing in our daily practice. For this I'm going to use the help of the Taffanel and Gobert book, Daily Exercises, which I will talk a little bit more about in my next video, where I go through repertoire and books that I think every flutist should own. Exercise number 4 in Taffanel and Gobert takes you through the major scales and their relative minors, and offers you essentially a clean slate to do a number of articulations and combinations of articulations throughout the exercise. So this never gets boring, but also keeps you on your toes. To start with, I will just walk you through the C major portion. As it's written, the time signature is 4/2, and there are 4 groupings of 4/8 notes in each bar. There are no articulation markings, so the first articulation suggestion that Taffanel and Gobert give us is to slur 2 groupings of the 8th notes. So you slur 2 beats, slur 2 beats, slur 2 beats, slur 2 beats. Then, when we're going to get ready to change into the relative minor, that's where we're presented with an opportunity to kind of collect ourselves and think about perhaps changing the articulation or keeping it the same. Right now I'll just walk you through, give you a little example of how I like to approach this. So on and so forth. Now, in that example, going from the A minor down to F major, I like to take whatever articulation you were doing, and in that last bar where you are transitioning from minor to major or major to minor, you slur them. That slur gives you the opportunity to think, or look at the top of the page where they outline 8 different articulation options, which are not by any means what you're limited to using. Your imagination is the limit. Also for these, I recognize that this is not in the typical all-state pattern of scales. Dun, 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 dun. You could certainly implement that kind of a rhythmic pattern into these. Really, truly, the sky is the limit. These are just a guideline for you. For those of you who might not be confident in your scales yet, in your scale patterns, in your circle of fifths, first off, print out a sheet of the circle of fifths and have it with you on your stand or in your music folder at all times. It's incredibly helpful and always good to serve as a touchstone. But an exercise like Taffanel and Gobert 4, where every major and minor scale is written out for you and you don't really have to think about that pattern, you're still putting it into your muscle memory. You know, by running your fingers through these really attentively, you are not only training your ear, you're also training your fingers to these keys and their relative minors. The latter half of this book is almost exclusively devoted to arpeggios. Arpeggios in order or broken arpeggios. You have plenty of options to practice them, and some of them are incredibly tricky. The key here is to make sure that you're practicing them slow and carefully, and devoting truly as much attention as you can spare to the smoothness between your fingers, playing with what one of my former teachers used to call musical fingers, and realizing that your fingers are what are enabling you to move between the notes, and there's music in between those movements, and keeping a very steady and stable airstream. So in Taffanel and Gobert exercise number 12, We're back in common time. They are written in 16th notes. Again, do not get excited when you see 16th notes. They don't always necessarily mean to go faster. Here we have 4 groups of 16th notes in each bar, and the first pattern of articulation that is offered to us by Tafanel and Gobert is completely slurred. So each bar is slurred. I'll walk you through that. What I like to do is after every 4 bars, you land when you move to the next note, which in this case we start on a B natural. 4 bars later, we land on a B flat. On that B flat, we hold it, we collect ourselves, and that is an opportunity to, again, change the articulation pattern as we did in Tafanel Gobert number 4. Here's an example. So on and so forth. So in this case, what's very challenging is to avoid cracking in between the notes. In the first and second bars together, you notice the problem interval will be the F sharp to the A. High F sharp is a notoriously unstable note along with high E natural, and it's always beneficial to give a little bit of extra attention to those notes because there will always be problem notes. You don't want to pinch, pinch, pinch when you're especially up in these high registers, so starting out on that first note, that middle B, and getting a very open mouth, very open torso here, very relaxed. Again, no tension present. Keeping your entire mouth cavity open and resonant so that that note sounds as beautiful as it can will help you when you go into the high register not introduce tension. So just think open from the very beginning and stay that way. Don't do this. Nothing sounds good that way. And from that, what I was just doing as an example was to push here, was to pinch even further the airstream. Actually, think even more open the higher you go. And try to negotiate the high register internally with the space of your mouth. Think very open. And then for that high A and high B is a tricky note. I like to, again, aim the air downwards and keep the airstream as open and free as possible. So there you have Tafanel and Gobert's scales and arpeggios. I hope this is a nice entry point for you to continue your exploration of these very fun, very challenging, but very rewarding exercises. Till next time.